talking about. You can come in and out of it. You can take breaks. You don't have to do everything that I'm calling out or anything. But here, the main purpose is I just want you to check in with yourself. Where are you at today? Where's your body at? Are there any areas that you're feeling more tension, more tightness than others? And then where's your mind at? Do you mind shutting that, or just like close that door just a little bit? Where's your mind at? Like, has it been a busy day? All of that matters, right? And just seeing if in this posture, if you can just bring attention to your breath. I'm not asking you to change it. Just notice where you're breathing. So as you inhale through the nose, if you'd like to, where do you notice the movement in your body? Where do you notice the expansion happening? Is it on the front side? Is it on the back side? Is it on the sides? Taking a few more deep breaths here. Just enjoying the fact that as you inhale nice and strong, it's massaging your organs even inside. Okay, a couple more deep rounds of breath if you'd like to. Extending your exhale just a little bit longer. That's how you can down regulate and bring calm as you just extend your exhale longer. And then you can go ahead, when you're ready, after your next breath, you can come up into all fours. So you're gonna rock forward where your hands are underneath your shoulders and then your knees are underneath your hips. And we're gonna go into cat-cow, which is just some fun movement with your spine here. So as you inhale, your belly drops, chest drops, chin can go up, and then exhale, we round. Okay, so you're gonna go back and forth with your breath, just dropping down, letting the spine go, and then exhale, round. Okay, and just ease into it, soft edges. And one thing I want you guys to notice here, if you can with me, just keep going, I'm gonna talk PT-ish stuff. A lot of runners have some overactive pelvic floors, right? And that can drive some hip and back pain. And so I love cat-cow because it actually helps you connect with your pelvic floor a little bit more. And pelvic floor is all the muscles that help you pee, poop, all of that. Okay, so as you move like this, what do you notice in your pelvic floor? Like between those sit bones, the bony prominences in your pelvis that you sit on, in your tailbone, what do you notice as you arch your back? And then what do you notice as you round? Are there any ways that you can invite breath and just try and relax whenever you let your belly fall forward towards the floor? And just noticing. Okay. And then as you want to, you can take your hips back behind your knees, okay? And then here we're just doing low back. So all I want you to do is see if you can just isolate the low back and round it. And then come and drop, okay? One of my patients calls this twerking. It's just a weird posture, but it actually feels really good for the spine. You're going to rock back and then just round the back and forth, just a few more times. So if you struggle with leaking when you run, I want you to focus on doing more deep breathing and trying to lengthen the pelvic floor. And this is a good one for that. All right, last breath. So you can do one more breath cycle, and then we're gonna come back to center here. And if you'd like to, you can take one arm up, rotate up as you open at the chest, yeah. And then we can come down again. So I like doing just a couple reps first to warm up. You can lengthen up, open up, and then come down. And then we're gonna do one more, and this time we're gonna do a thing called thread the needle. So you take the arm up, you can watch me if you need to, and then I'm gonna swoop my arm underneath my chest and just kind of twist towards the other side. My top arm goes overhead towards the top of my mat. And this is really just focusing on rotating at the chest level, sitting your hips back. Just notice what you notice here. Just a couple more rounds of breath. You don't have to stay here too long. And then we can come up, nice and slow, and then you can move any way you need to, and then we're gonna switch sides. So you can rotate up, open up, exhale back down. Twice here. Opening up, enjoying that rotation. Exhale. And then let's do that again. So you're gonna reach up, lift up, and then take your arm underneath. You're like weaving it underneath if you like to, extending that other arm towards the top. And my hair needs to go up, it's all over the place. And we breathe. So I want you to stay in most of these postures around 4 rounds of breath. That's about 30 seconds. And then after your 4th round, you can come on up. Good. And then we can come up into all 4s. So one thing, if you have a hard time being on your wrists all the time, you can come down to forearms at any point or just take a break. So the next one, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into plank, and then we're gonna sit back into downward facing dog. So plank, you're just bringing your shoulders over your wrists, activating the core. I know we all know this one. And then we're sitting our hips up, our pelvis goes up towards the ceiling. Give yourself a good, generous bend in your knees. Don't start off trying to yank your hamstrings. Okay, we're thinking long from your fingertips to your spine, or sorry, fingertips to your sit bones. And then knees can have that bend, and you can also rock your toes, bend and straighten your knees, alternating if you'd like to do that. Just finding some movement. Feel free to come out of this and take breaks if this is a lot. And then lift up on your tiptoes. I always like doing that one, giving a good pop. Yeah, and then come back down. And then if you like to just think about, again, length from the fingertips to the sit bones. Couple more rounds of breath. This is a really good one to lower the heart rate. Okay, you're gonna come forward now into plank. You can drop your left knee down. Let's take your right leg forward. If you have a hard time being on your back knee, I would recommend rolling up the mat and put it underneath your knee to have a little more support. So we're staying low. Find your breath, and I'm gonna put my hand on the inside of my foot. Yeah, there you go. And as we do this, I want you to think about drawing your hands backward towards the back end of the mat to take your trunk forward, letting your knee drag behind you to kind of traction that hip, if that makes sense. If that's a confusing cue, don't worry about it. And then you can come off it. So I'm just pushing into the mat, dragging it backward and letting that open my hip a little bit more. If that feels good for you. If that's intense, you can back off. Remember, soft edges. Find your breath in every posture, and then you can come off of that, and let's do a little rotation if you'd like to. You can rotate up, again, if it feels good for you. Find your breath. Couple rounds of breath, and you can make this as active or as passive as you want. And then arm can come back down, okay? And then I want you to roll, if you want to, you can roll onto the outside of that foot. If you have a lot of hip issues, maybe don't do this one if this is aggravating for you, okay? Because it can be intense. And so this one, you're just opening up. Find your breath for a couple rounds. You don't have to stay there too long. And then you come back to center, okay? And then if you want to, totally optional, you can take that arm. This is the worst one in my opinion. You take it and you go back for the foot. Worst one in a good way, right? So if that's just too much, I would say take it and just let your foot fall to the mat. Yeah, you don't have to do this one. Find your breath. Yeah. Find your breath. Couple rounds. See, with every exhale, you can just let it chillax a little more. if it feels safe for you. And then you come back. Okay, I know that one's intense. And then hands plant, and then you can take your foot back. Okay, reset. I always like to activate after, and then you can switch legs. Again, soft edges. You don't have to dump in your hip. Okay, and then my foot goes to the outside of my hand. If that feels good for you, and we find our breath. And again, I'm like pushing into the mat and drawing downward towards the back end of my mat to kind of get that traction. This is kind of an intense one, so just ease into it, and you can come off and do one more traction where you're pushing in and down and back. And then we come off, and then if you'd like to rotate, just open at the chest level and rotate over and up. 2 or so rounds of breath here, 2 to 4, depends on how big a breaths you're taking. Good, and then we come back to center. And then if you want to, you can roll on the outside of that foot, just a little bit, bringing that knee outward if it's available. Again, with the hips, everybody has their own innate mobility in the hip, so we don't have to force things, which is common in yoga. And just see if you can relax and exhale. And then you can bring your foot back down. And if you just need a break from that stretch, you can come back over your hips for a minute. And then top arm can go back and stretch behind you. I'm actually going the wrong way, but either way, whichever way, you can grab your foot if it's available, grab it. And find your breath. Are there any tears happening? Good. One more breath. Good. And then come back and down. And then we can come, bring your foot back behind you, knees underneath. And if you want to do a little cat-cow here, you can do that. And then I want you on your belly next. So let's go all the way down to your belly. Just relax for a second. Find your breath. Good. Where's your breath at? And then now what I want you to do, this isn't really a yoga pose, but you're going to have your hands by your shoulders. All your muscles in your glutes and your back are off. It's only your arms doing the work, okay? You're going to push up as much as you can. And it might feel a little painful, just back off the edge, right? And then come back down. So it's completely passive. It's just you taking your back into extension. Let's go again. We're gonna do this 4 times. You can inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. So if you think about how much we spend in sitting, a lot of the times this is a good one to kind of counteract that. And just one more. All arms. Good. Okay. And then you can curl the toes under, and then we are going to push back up into downward facing dog if you want to do that. You can bend your knees. Give it a nice bend if you need to, and then straighten out as you like to. We're not staying here for too long. Good. One more breath. See if you can relax with the inhale and then exhale out. And then you can come forward over your hands. Let's step the foot forward, okay? Option here. We're gonna come all the way up this time. We're not gonna be leaning forward. You can lift up your back leg as we do some of these postures, or you can just keep it down. Let's lift our hands up with our inhale. I like to interlace my fingers and then flip the palms up. Again, going soft edge, not hard edge with your hips. And then you can let your hands go and even lean over towards the right. Couple rounds of breath. This is a really good one for obliques, for hips. And then we come back up. Let's lift the back leg if you're able to, just a little bit. And then just do a little rotation over to the side and don't lose your balance. And then we come back up with your arms and rotate back to center, and then exhale down and rotate. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. Last one, in. And out. Good. And then we can go back down to the mat. This time we're rocking back on our foot. Hips go back, foot forward, good old hammy. Hamstring stretch, you can sit tall. Think about chest is tall. Yep, you can use props. You can even sit on a block if you'd like to. And then as you can, you're just leaning forward over your leg. You can bend your knee as much as you need to, or you can try and straighten it, okay? Couple more rounds of breath here. Good. And then we can switch sides. So we're going to come forward over your hands. Let's switch sides in plank, like you're taking that leg back. And then take the opposite one forward. Nice. Then we can come up. You can keep this one down initially, or you can raise it. And then we're just lifting up. Inhale. Exhale. You can interlace the fingers, flip the palms if you'd like to. Inhale. Exhale. Good, and then let the fingers go, and then you can do that side bend over if you'd like to. I grab my wrist and side bend, totally up to you. I'm just gonna stay here 2 rounds. Okay, and then we come back to center, and then here's if you wanna raise the back foot, or what body part is that? Knee. You can raise it up a little bit, okay? And then we're just doing our rotations. So you're inhaling, go up, exhale, we rotate. Inhale, so obviously this one's more active. A little more work. Exhale. In, and if you want to drop as we do this, you can. Just make whatever dance you want to. And last one. Come back to center. And then we can lower the foot down, knee down. And then you can rock back onto your foot. Or to the side of the foot if you want to sit on the mat and you have that range in your knee. Toes pointed back towards your face if you like to. And then we're just leaning forward over that leg as you can. Not forcing anything. Awesome. So after your last breath, we're gonna come up over our foot, and then we're actually going on our belly one more time before we get into another posture. So go on your belly, and this we're just gonna do a little bit of intentional back work here. So extension. So let one leg drifts up. So lift it up, activating your glutes. And then think about pushing your toe away from you. Toes go away from you. Lengthen out, drop the leg, and then opposite side, lengthen up, lift up, and then lengthen is what I mean. And then you drop back down. Good. Hands go by your armpits again. And this time, you use your back muscles. So you lift up, right, into baby cobra, using your back, using your arms, opening the chest. And then you can lower back down, okay? We'll do this about 4 times where you're light on your mat with your hands and you're letting your chest lift up. And then back down. 2 more times. You can activate your legs if you want strong legs for this, just kind of strong, sturdy legs here. And then one more time, we go up. Good, and then back down. All right. Awesome, so this one, all I want you to do is bend your knees and let your feet come up towards the ceiling. And these are just windshield wipers. These are great for hips, so you can just alternate going back and forth. Sometimes I like to have them go opposite, so, oh yeah, everyone's gonna be hitting. Everyone's playing footsie here. All right, good. But this is a good test to kind of see how much hip mobility you have. Okay, and then you can let your legs come back down to the floor. Awesome. Okay, so hands are going by your armpits, and we're actually going to come up into plank and then downward facing dog. So let's go into downward facing dog. We breathe. And then after a couple more rounds of breath, we're going to step forward towards our hands. And then both feet come towards your hands, okay? So there you go. And then you can bend your knees, create a good landing pad for your belly, okay? And then just fall over your legs here, if this feels good for you. See if you can shake your head a little bit. Let the muscles relax, let your jaw relax. Anything with the head below the heart helps you lower your heart rate and chill out of it. One more breath. Again, it's not really for hammies here, we're just letting ourselves relax into this forward fold. And then you can bend your knees like you're gonna almost squat, and we can slowly lift on up, okay? Then you can stretch up. And then you can do a little side bend both directions if you like to. Okay. And over. Great. Awesome. Okay, so some people have blocks. So if you have the block, grab one and you can put it in front of your mat, the front side. And then what we're going to do, so I love using chairs and blocks for the practice for like alignment and stuff. All you're gonna do is take, go right leg forward, left leg back. That's fine, I'm okay if my head's cut off. Okay. And then I like to go a little bit wider, just to give my SI joint some room to breathe. So just a little bit wider, and then with your prop in front of you, if you have it, we're just folding forward, like we're trying to keep our hips pretty level, and then you're just folding forward at the hips over your legs, okay? And so put your hands on the block if you have one. If you don't, I want you to just kind of prop them on your leg, but I want you to think about taking your right hip backward or back towards the back end of your mat. Right hip comes a little bit more forward, and you can straighten that front leg if you want to for the good old hammy. If this is too much load on your back, I want you to grab a prop or chair. I can help here. Or even go to the wall. So I'll show you this. I use the wall all the time. You can find wall space and then do this from here, okay? This is a good one. Actually, can we just do that? Are you guys good? Let's find a wall space. So everyone can you can even use the front of the stage here. So I just want you to feel it a little bit differently, okay? Yep, so there you go. So you're gonna take one leg forward, hands go towards the wall. You're thinking about jutting your hips backward, and then just keeping pretty flat spine here, but you can create length from your fingertips to your sit bones. Think about long from the sit bones to the fingertips, yeah. And then you can straighten out the front of the leg. Again, this shouldn't be back pain inducing. If it is, I want you to take your hands higher on the wall, find your breath, okay? Higher on the wall and just lengthen out from fingertips to the sit bones.
Should the weight be more on like my back leg or?
Yeah, so I'm actually pretty even throughout my legs, but I would say pretty even actually. Good question. Find your breath. Are you guys feeling it in this one or no? Okay. Yeah. I really love using the wall for these kind of the upright postures. Okay. One more breath and then let's switch sides, okay? Good. Slowly ease into it. You can step forward or step back, and then we're switching sides. So the left leg forward, right leg back. This is a really great one to do after a run, right? And then you can just experiment, just see what it feels like if you take your hands higher on the wall, lengthening out the spine. So if you take it higher on the wall, you get more of a lengthening effect, or at least a sensation in the spine. Or you can go lower and get more into the hips. And we breathe. Just stay here for 4 more rounds of breath. 3 or 4. I may have not counting very well today. Okay. And then as you want to, you can come up and out. Yep, step up. Okay, good. And let's stay here for a second. One more. Okay. IT band, woes, anybody? Okay. This is a favorite one I like is when we do the same thing, okay? And then you can take one hand down on the wall and then rotate over towards your forward leg. And what I really want you to think about is you're twisting more from chest level, not like anything in the back. You shouldn't be feeling pain in the back. So your top hand's up, bottom hand's down, twist from here, and then you're going towards that front leg, which will get your IT band. Oh yeah, sorry. You can come up here if you want to.
I'll make it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. So you're just finding your breath. And if you have SI joint issues, you can also just widen your stance a bit to give yourself a little breathing room. Yeah. And again, if you need to bend that front leg, you can. Another option at home is just using a block underneath your bottom arm. Does that feel weird to anybody? Is that okay?
I thought it was the other way around.
So you're doing it right now. So you're actually turning towards your front leg. Is that your
I was doing the other way.
Oh yeah. All right. So you can step out of that one, forward or backward, and then you can just switch sides.
Okay, so you're alive.
Is that one okay?
Yeah,
Does it feel
I
weird?
feel it a lot here.
Yeah.
So I guess that means I'm probably pretty tight there.
Yeah, you're gonna feel it where you're tightest. I just don't want you to feel it in like the low back pain stuff. So all this should feel more like you're getting some muscle.
Maybe you're really tight.
Good.
Probably.
Just find your breath.
Right now, right?
Find your edge. And if that's too intense for you, you can always just go back to the center, right? And just do the basic hammy stretch. Okay, good. And then you can step out of that. Awesome, you guys. And you can go back to your mat. I know you'll find all the ways that you're like, whoa, I'm stiff here, you know? Okay, so let's actually, if you're cool with it, let's go down to the floor. You can grab your block. We're gonna do yogi squat. So this one, you're just going low if you can. You can actually be on a block or prop, but if you can, you're just going down into a good old squat. Yeah, good. This is a really good one, you guys, for hip health, back, and also pelvic floor. So if we have a hard time, you can't do that one? That's okay, it's okay. What I want you to do is just like come up a little bit. So you can come up a little bit and you can actually sit back if you just need a break from that one. But this one, you guys, if you have issues with leaking or while you run, finding your breath and trying to relax the pelvic floor, okay? All those muscles, just let them relax. And then if you want, you can fall backward. And then if you want to, you can do a nice twist if you want to add that, or you can stay where you're at. Just kind of noticing what's available for you. And then come back. And then other side. Back. Good. And if you want to, let's rock forward. Just kind of showing you all these runner stretches. But this one I like. You're going to actually curl your toes and sit back a little bit on your heels, if you're able to. Yeah. So this is a really good stretch for plantar fascia, the toes. Everyone okay? Yeah, so if you have issues with like plantar fascia stuff, this might be a little irritable. But don't stay here too long. I would say like 4 rounds of breath. It's always good. And then, are you able to do that one?
No.
That's okay. You can build up to these. I'm just giving you guys some options. Okay, and then we're gonna come out, and then let's go actually into sitting, and I'm gonna face you for this one, and then knees coming forward, okay? So we're doing a little bit of hip work here. Good. And let's go feet wide, okay? Yeah. And then you can lean back, right? And then we're just doing a little bit of hips internal rotation. Let your pelvis come up with it as you rotate in, and then opposite side, okay? So this is just a really good, easy way to work on hip mobility. And for those of you who like a good stretch, you can lay back and do this flat on your back. And you'll notice as you bring your knee inward, like towards the middle, you can get a nice yummy stretch on that front side if you're tighter there. You may or may not feel it. Okay? But if hips are more stiff, you can always do this from up. Okay, good. Maybe just a couple more rounds each side, always finding your breath. Okay. Good. And then we're gonna come up. And so, sorry, I'm making you go up, down, up, down. But this one is a good little drill you can do for your hips, where you're dropping your hips to the side and you let your trunk rotate towards that side. It's kind of like 90 degrees if you're able to. And then you switch sides, okay? This is something to work up to. So go back to rocking if this is too intense, but you can try to do the 90. Just notice how your hips, your pelvis, your low back, all of it's connected, right? And it just kind of goes in this beautiful flow here. Beautiful, painful sometimes. And then come back to center. Awesome. And let's just do you guys want a couple options? You can do butterfly, where your feet go together, knees apart, or if you want to do the just full leg straight out, you can do that one as well. But just think about sitting on your sit bones, like rock back, find the bony prominences, sit tall, and then you can lean forward over your legs as you like to. If you need to support your knees, if that's a little too much, you can always do that. The hips can be tricky. You just gotta ease into it. Let's just find 4 rounds of breath there. Good. Come on up. Awesome. And then let's let your legs out in front of you. And then you can roll back on your back. You can grab your knees if you wanted to. Bring them into chest. Okay? And then just hug your knees if this feels comfortable for you. And then you can even rock side to side. Sometimes I like to rock back and forth. Feels kind of like a massage on those paraspinals, your low back muscles. Good. And then you can let your feet drop to the floor. We're gonna go over some hip stretches you can do. So more hips, right? So take one leg, you're gonna take one leg up and then grab your foot and support the outside of your knee. Lengthen out the other leg. Beautiful. Okay, and then as you're here, I want you to think about, not just think about it, but do it. You're gonna bring your foot towards your chest as you can tolerate that. So just ease into it, find your soft edge, and just support the outside of your knee. You're not pushing it away. So you're bringing your foot up towards your chest. Yeah. So this is a stretch for a deep hip rotator muscle, the OI. You're just bringing it in. You may or may not feel tightness there. Does anyone feeling it? This one? Yeah. Another round or two of breath. And then after your next round of breath, you can switch sides. Good. Nice. And remember, we're thinking about bring your foot towards your chest. Just support the outside of the knee. You got it. Beautiful. And you're going to find your breath. So this little guy, this little muscle can actually cause a lot of deep hip pain, cause some pain down your hamstring, referred pain to your hamstring. It can be tricky. And then after your next breath, you can lower your leg back down, okay? Keep your knees bent, feet on the floor here. And then you're gonna bring one leg up and cross it over your left. Yeah. Then you're gonna bring your knees in towards your chest as far as you can. You may or may not feel it, but what we're doing is we're stretching that hip of the top leg. 4 rounds of breath here, seeing if you can let go of some tension with every exhale. And then you can uncross your legs and then set them back down, and then you're gonna cross them again, okay? On the switch sides. And then bring your knees to chest, hug them in. Good. 4 rounds of breath here. And then you can come off of that one when you're ready. Nice. All right. You're gonna have your knees bent, feet on the floor. And then hands can go by your hips, just arms flat on the mat. And then you can push into the floor and just lift your hips up nice and strong, activating the backside. And if this is painful on your neck, back off of it. Find your breath. Come back down. We're gonna do that again. And each time you come down, I want you to think about rolling your spine down like it's a slinky, okay? And then we're gonna lift up again. So you lift up with your breath, just keep breathing. You may notice this is where it's easier to actually activate your pelvic floor. Squeezing the pelvic floor. And then we roll down, so slinky spine here, articulating every part of your spine nice and slow. Good. Can we do 2 more? We lift up, activate the back side. Good. Couple rounds of breath, always finding your breath, and then we roll down. Good. 1 more. We lift and lengthen. Think long from your knees to your head, maybe even drawing your ankles back towards your butt to lengthen out. Get a little more hammy. And then down one vertebrae at a time. Good. Good, good. And you can kind of rock back and forth for a moment. And then the next one, what I want you to do is we're gonna bring your knees to chest, okay? You can grab the outside of your ankles, or sorry, feet, and this is called the make no eye contact yoga pose, right? So you're actually just going to open up here and just opening the hips, and you can rock back and forth, called happy baby. If it hurts in your hip flexors, don't go and hug in too much. Let off a little bit, okay? You're probably just overactive there. But I want you to let off a little bit, and you can, if it hurts in your hip flexors, just hook your knees over your forearms and give them a break, and just totally turn off your hip flexors, okay? All right, so this is a good one to do if you have issues with leaking. And then bring your legs together up towards the ceiling here. Yeah, just have some fun with this, you guys. And then you can take your legs overhead if that's available for you and if it feels good. And then you can roll down, just have a little fun. Okay. Awesome. You can lengthen out. Good. And then lengthen out from your, if you don't hit anyone, you can take your arms overhead, lengthen out on the mat. Long, 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 and then you can relax and let go. Just noticing, letting yourself be heavy on the mat. If there's any extra tension you're holding, whether that's in the jaw, whether that's in the shoulders, let's just see if you can let something go with every exhale. The space between your eyebrows, let it go. The hands, let them relax a bit more. Just notice your breath. Where do you feel it? And if we want to learn how to down regulate a bit, all you have to do is extend your exhale a little bit longer here. So if you want to try that, you can, or if you just want to chill, you can. You can inhale and let the belly rise a bit. And then exhale, just see if you can extend it a little bit longer. You don't have to force anything, just notice. So after your runs or your hard workouts, you don't have to even be laying down. You can be walking, and all you need to do is just extend the exhale longer for 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. If you'd like to, you can wiggle your hand or wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, move in any way that feels good for you. You can stay on your mat laying flat, or you can sit up, no rush. You can roll over onto your side and push yourself up, or you can stay lying down. And you can lengthen out if you want to. You can lift the hands overhead. Just as like stretching out the long sit bones to the palms, yeah. If you want a little neck stretch, you can take your arms down and then just side bend over and then rotate down and then up, down and up. And then you can flip sides here. Go to the other side, side bend, and then chin down towards the chest, and then up. Good. And then you can come back to center. Thank you guys for coming. It was fun. Hopefully that was helpful or felt good at least. And tomorrow, after your workout, let's do a little bit more breath work. At least 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. But yeah, I'm happy to take any questions if you guys have any questions, either group or personal. I will be taking a few calls if you guys are having issues. I'm happy to hop on the phone with you and then just see if I can help in any way or guide you at all. But I am in Sugar House, but I do virtual and in person too. So all that said, yeah, feel free to book a call if you want to. Does anyone have any questions in general? I know a lot of people are like, want to do one-on-one, but did that overall feel okay? Okay. All right, no one has more back pain than when they walked in, right? Okay. Yeah, some of them can be a lot, but just maybe you can take a few of those away with you and then incorporate that into your practice too at home. So awesome. It's nice to have you guys here. Thanks for coming out. It's fun to collaborate with Salt Lake Running Company. I love them. Get all my shoes here, so. Does anyone do group runs with them? Do you guys do group runs or no? No?
I work here.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done any of the group runs usually because I get up on my own before kids and stuff, but it would be fun to try it out sometime. Okay. Thank you guys. If you want a card or anything, they're up here. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them, okay? Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah.